Welcome to the Odd Life Podcast. That's AWED, which stands for Awake, Well, and Empowered. We're here to have conversations to inspire women of all ages to live odd AF. I'm your host, Hallie, and thank you so much for being here. Let's dive in. Hi there. Welcome back to the podcast. How y'all doing? I hope everything's going great. My voice sounds a little funky this week, and I apologize. I was at a football game this past weekend, which we're going to talk about here in a second, but tried to win the football game with my voice, and it didn't work. We lost by 4 points, but I gave it my all, and so I'm paying for it by a little bit of a scratchy throat, and I sound like I've smoked a pack of cigarettes, but I did not. I just yelled really loud at a football game. So bear with me if this sounds a little different. I'm doing my best to make sure this is of good sound quality. So that is why the voice sounds a little funky. I hope you've enjoyed the last couple of guests I've had on the podcast. My friend Kate, my friend Mallory, really glad that they were able to come on the podcast. I loved those conversations. They were so fun. And I have a feeling there'll be return visitors on the podcast again. I want to make sure that I'm conscious of your time when I have guests on. So sometimes we don't get into all of it, and maybe we'll have another chat and get into some more stuff, but hope you've enjoyed them. And ironically, both of these women are people that live sober as well, one out of necessity and one out of choice. And I'm not surprised. And this isn't to make anybody feel bad, but most of the women that I find are living awake, well, and empowered are women that don't drink. So I'm not surprised that I am attracted to their stories and who they are as people because they're living a sober life as well. It is such a game changer. And that's what I want to talk about today. Give you a little bit of an update on myself, what my sober life looks like. Some things I've noticed lately. I know you may not care at all about any of this right now, but down the road, you may. Or you may be curious what life looks like when you're older and you're not drinking, or what life could look like for you when you're not drinking. Like, what are the upsides? What are the downsides? We're going to get into that here in a little bit. So what sober living looks like for me now is I don't drink alcohol. I will order an NA Corona every once in a while with some lime, but I will drink water a lot of the times with lemon or some sort of other fruit garnish. If I can find anything, I will have them put fruit in it to make it more palatable. A lot of times it's tap water, so gross, but you got to do what you got to do. I am maybe drinking a Poppy at home or some other sort of probiotic soda. If I feel like having something special, I will have that at home. I just drink water. I like the electrolyte packets, so I'll put those in my water to make me drink it more. And I feel like I'm, getting hydrated, so that's good. So I really don't crave it. I do a lot of lattes or matcha at home. So I found a really cute tea strainer. So I've been doing some detox tea at night just to have something fun and cozy that's not just my water all the time. So that's what I'm drinking these days. Literally water and lattes and matcha and hot tea at night. With that said, I am not 100% alcohol free in the sense that if my husband's ordered a glass of wine at dinner and he's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, I will have a sip of his wine to see what it tastes like. If my daughter has ordered a fun drink for her birthday dinner celebration, I will have a sip of her drink to taste it. She's like, oh, this is so great. So I'm not like, I'm never having a drop of alcohol again. I don't order them and I don't have anything besides a sip to taste it. And that's it. I have such a different relationship with it now. I know some people are hardcore, like zero alcohol. I want to have a date that I can celebrate each year. And I get that. Totally fine. That's just not me. It's very nonchalant, I don't care. I don't want to drink alcohol. So therefore I don't. It's not easy. I'm going to give you some pros and cons here in a minute, but social events, going to this football game this weekend. Have you ever been to some sort of sporting event or live event and people go to pre-party and you're the only one that's not drinking? It's like when you were pregnant or you couldn't drink because you were on some sort of medications, something that kept you from joining the crowd and drinking. You know what I'm talking about. That feeling of being the only sober person in the room sucks a lot of times. It's fine in the beginning because everyone's in the same place, but an hour or two later, you start to see things change. And then 3 hours later, for sure, people have turned a corner and you're still in the same place from the very beginning. So it's not easy to always be that person in a crowd. It's very rare that I come across somebody else in that type of setting that is not drinking. So this weekend, same old. I will give you an update on my husband, though. He still drinks. He is cut way back. In college, he was a bartender. And a big part of our dating life was around alcohol. A large chunk of our marriage has been around doing things with alcohol involved. So this shifted a lot for us. For him, involuntarily. He didn't choose this. I did. But I will say the perk of this is that he has cut way back because I think he's starting to see other people's drinking through my eyes. We've been to a couple other games this season, one early on and then just a couple weeks ago. And the more we were around it, he saw what I saw. And so he was very gracious and thoughtful and said, hey, let's go walk around. Let's go down here and do this instead. So we left where everybody was getting drunk and we walked around instead. Let's go down to the old horseshoe, which is right in front of the stadium, and let's see if we know anybody down there. It was mostly just to get away from all of the alcohol. And I think it was because he knew I was, number one, bored to tears, and two, annoyed as hell. And I think he sees things that way too. So this last weekend, we got to feel a little nostalgic, which was great. It's always nostalgic to go back to Lincoln regardless, but going back to a place we have been going to forever. That was so good. So we had lunch and he was communicating with his friends and they were still at this place called the Bar and they were giving him shit about not joining him there. And he's like, I'm good. I'm enjoying my time here. It's quiet. It's peaceful. We're watching some sports on the TV. We're having great food. I don't need that other stuff. So inside I was taking note that he said that. Then our daughter joined us for a quick moment. She got into town. She had to work the game. She does sideline reporting and content creation for her company and for the game. And so she joined us for a quick bite. And then we walked back towards the stadium with her. And so she could go and do all the pregame stuff she needs to do. So then we went down to another area. And there's a coffee shop that's open. So I got myself a coffee. My husband found out that a friend of ours, his son was just across the street at that bar hanging out with his friends. So he went over while I was getting my coffee and said hi to him. We walked around a little bit. We went to this outdoor beer garden to meet up the friends that were at the other bar before. So we finally got to say hello. And one had flown in from California. I hadn't seen him for a long time, but at that beer garden, there's a band playing. And years ago, I would be all for it. I'd be right there drinking with everybody else. And now I'm standing there listening to music. Everyone's pounding beers and drinks and whatever. And I don't have much to say because when people drink enough, eventually that conversation becomes pretty mindless. It's chatter. It's fluff. It's nothing, right? No, there's no deep conversations happening in that place. Number one, it's loud. Number two, people are bouncing around you and you're trying to scooch out of the way. And it's not conducive for a conversation. They're there to drink before they go to the game. There's a goal in mind. And the goal isn't to have a good conversation. And you're the only one standing there not drinking. It becomes awkward for everybody because a lot of times there's nothing to talk about. People have been drinking for quite a while. I mean, it's now 3:30. People have been down there since noon. They've got a good 3 hours under their belt. They got a couple more to go before they head to the stadium. So we're there for about a half an hour. And I'm watching my husband. He sees somebody that he used to work with years ago. And he was well on his way to Drunkville. And my husband was talking to him, being nice. And my husband talks to everybody. So it's not a surprise. But it was going on a 20-minute conversation. There's not a whole lot happening there. It's just kind of stupid talk, honestly. And my husband could see it because he's seeing it now through my eyes. And if I was right there with him, joining him in that scenario, I don't think he would have thought much about it. But since I'm dead sober, he's being thoughtful and conscientious of me. So he tried to break it off. And finally he had to cut the conversation off. And then he's like, hey, you ready to go? I'm like, yes, I am ready to go. We did our due diligence. We've said hi to the people that have flown in out of town. We've checked the boxes. So now we're going to head towards the stadium, maybe walk around there a little bit, just check out the vibe and then finally go in. This is a really long explanation of what life feels like at everyday things that most people don't think twice about. When you're living sober, it can be annoying. Honestly, it can be annoying. I get into the football game and I'm doing this. I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that the person sitting next to me on my right, please don't be drunk. And for a while, they don't show up. And then finally they come in, skeeting in the last second. And sure enough, had quite a few cocktails. And then there's a family next to my husband that's trying to tell him he's in the wrong seat. And he's like, nope, I'm in the right seat. And they're trying to squeeze in a couple of kids into one seat. So they're trying to finagle their way in. Well, the mom's with the three kids. And then the dads finally show up. They're in Drunkville. They may have actually started the town. So I've got obnoxious to the left, obnoxious to the right. And then I'm in the front row of this game. A friend reached out last second, couldn't use his tickets. They're in the front row of the end zone. It's pretty amazing. You see everything, but you also have people walking in front of you constantly. So you notice the constant back and forth to the concession stand and what they're bringing back. And again, I'm very hyper aware of what's happening around me. And man, I'm so grateful that I no longer need alcohol to enjoy an event. I love being dead fucking sober at a sporting event. I remember all the things. I remember most of the plays. And now it's such a production. Between third and fourth quarter, there's this big light show and all the stuff. I remember all of it. And I'm so present. So this past weekend, it's just a reinforcement of, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not drinking. Because I can tell you, by just watching those people, I can almost taste the hangover. I can feel the headache that they're going to have the next day, the way they're going to feel. I can feel it. And it's so good because it is just more ammunition for myself of why I don't drink. I will never have a hangover again in my life. That is such a wonderful thing to say. When you watch somebody drink so much that you know how they're going to feel the next day, like that to me is so glad that's not me. How much time I wasted in my life being hungover. This past weekend was a great reinforcement of why I don't drink anymore. But it's not fun to be the one that's always different and the one that's not drinking. It sucks a lot of times. But I will tell you, my husband's been so great because he sees now finally that, oh, wait, that is kind of obnoxious. Or yeah, that is annoying. He has seen it through my eyes. And I've also told him, when I see someone that's really drunk, I don't feel safe. I grew up that way. And my PTSD kicks in, my fight or flight alert goes on, and I don't feel good. So I'm going to get the hell out of there. And he recognizes that. And I appreciate that about him because once we are in an environment that is like that, he helps me get out of that pretty quickly. He went to a bar with some friends, I don't know, this past summer, met them to watch some baseball or just reconnect. And one of his friends was wasted, came in wasted. He's like, what in the hell? And they had just sat down and had one beer under their belt. And he just was so aware of how bad he was. I don't know if it's because of me or just his own self-awareness now about alcohol, but I appreciate the fact that he's recognizing how I feel in a situation that feels unsafe. As a man, he's 220 pounds, 215 pounds. It doesn't bother him because he can hold his own. I can't. And being in that kind of environment just feels icky in so many ways for me. So he'll have one, maybe two, and call it good. If we're in the mountains and we're someplace fun in a nice restaurant, they've got some cool beers, he'll have one at our lunch or one at dinner, maybe two. If he couldn't decide between two beers, he'll try the other one then the next time, whatever. Point is, he has cut way back, and that makes my life a lot happier and feels a lot safer. I would love if he stopped completely, but that's not my journey. It's for him to decide. I think early on, I think he was annoyed that I chose to keep going. But now I think he understands more about it and why it's so good for me. And he's catching on slowly. He may get there. He may get there. I hope he does because it's been amazing. And that leads me into this next part. I want to share some of the pros and cons now of how I'm feeling about it. So the pros, my self-respect. I no longer wonder what I said the night before. I no longer cringe at the videos on my phone of something I've said or just the idiotic shit that I've done under the influence. Idiotic. Thinking I was funny or confident or whatever that was. I looked like a complete fool. So I've got my self-respect back. I gained sleep, good sleep. That alone in itself is number one reason to stop drinking is to get good sleep, especially now in this time of life. I actually got my health back. I did all these things up until then. I mean, everything. Took out all the non-toxic products in my closet, stopped eating sugar, adding all the green veggies, drinking green juice, taking all the supplements, everything, working out all the time. I never took out alcohol. By taking it out now, I'm like, oh my God, how did I think I was ever going to get healthy by drinking alcohol on a regular basis? Zero chance. Zero chance. I've gained perspective. I see life very differently now. I mentioned this when I first talked about it in the very first couple episodes is it's like the light came on. Everything's now in color versus black and white and just perspective of life in general. I think I see things differently. I see life in a much more vibrant way, but I just see myself differently now and my place in the world and how I want to show up as an individual in this world and the effort I want to put forward towards things in life and not just skate through and not go with the flow. It's changed how I want to show up in the world. It's given me energy and motivation and more creativity. I don't even know what I thought I was doing before. I don't know how I was surviving, honestly. My energy, my motivation, just, oh my God, my zest for life through the roof, through the roof. There's so many reasons why I don't go back, but that is a huge one. I would be giving all of that up. This podcast would never exist if I was still drinking alcohol. Never exist. Not a chance in hell. Not a chance. It takes every single ounce of my energy and motivation to put towards this. Even though I love this, I love doing it. I have a struggle with a lot of things. Procrastination. I have ADHD like nobody's business. I shamed myself for a long time growing up and as a young adult for the way I was. And I'm going to link an episode. I believe it's Gabor Mate that talks about ADHD. So impactful on how we get through the world. You can almost use it like a superpower if you want to, but it's also very detrimental. So I have not just that, but then you throw alcohol on top of that. I don't know how I managed through life so far at this point. Another thing I gained was presence. I feel so present in my life. I am so very aware of what's happening around me. I'm very aware of the little things, the nuances of life, if you will, the way the tree is blowing in the wind, the little squirrel running around the trunk of the tree, the way the air smells when I'm out walking, the way that little girl's walking with her mom at the park. I notice everything. And so that presence and witnessing life that's happening around me, oh my God, it makes me want to cry. I'm witnessing life so differently. Man, that caught me off guard. And I'm so in awe of what we have, what we get to do here. And I almost missed it. I almost missed it all. And so by not drinking, I am so much more present. I am so aware of my life. And I know that comes with age as well. I know that as we get older, we're much more aware of the passing of time. I get that. But I cannot imagine not being a witness to how wonderful life is. The good, the bad, all of the things. What we're experiencing is so insane. The best gift I could give myself is to be completely here for all of it. I saw a movie clip, actually just this morning. I don't know what movie it was from. I'll have to find it and link it. But Susan Sarandon was the actress, and I don't know the movie. I don't think I ever saw it. The clip didn't look familiar to me, but she mentions we get married so we have a witness to our own lives. And whether or not I agree to that, whatever, I think of it in terms of me living a sober life. I get to witness my own life now. I get to be the witness of what I'm experiencing here on this earth right now. I think it's a great way to describe living a sober life is I become a witness to myself. When you get to show up fully as yourself, you are the witness. And that's what I think got me so emotional is I'm witnessing my life. And I'm so grateful for all the things I get to see and experience and feel all of it. You know, it's like my spirit got turned back on, like a spigot almost, like my life force came back into me. And I cannot imagine wanting to turn that back off, which I know that if I went back to drinking alcohol, that's exactly what would happen. I would not have access to the whole person, the whole spirit that's within me. I don't know how to describe it. It sounds super cheesy to say it like that, but until you've been on this side of it, you won't know what I'm talking about. Something so magical happens when you choose yourself, your whole self, every single day. I'm thinking back about how I used to show up in my life by drinking alcohol. There wasn't a concert. There wasn't a tailgate. There wasn't a sporting event. I mean, everything, a dinner out with my husband, everything had alcohol involved. It was part of my daily life. And I cannot imagine going back to where that feels normal again. To go back to that now, I feel like it would be like turning the lights off. Like, okay, this life's over for you. That's how intensely I feel about this. And until you're on this side of it, you will never know. And I wish I could give everybody that feeling. This is what you could feel like on a daily basis. There's something that gets switched on and something that gets switched off as well. I wish I could gift everybody a snapshot of that. Here's a day in the life. Because I think if you would experience how that feels, you would choose it over and over again. Ironically, being sober is like a drug. Being sober to me now is addictive. That sounds so weird, but it's so true. And if you're living a sober life, you know what I'm saying. There's downsides too. I'm not going to make this sound like it's all like this amazing ride. There's isolation. People are going to pull away from you. They're going to think you're boring and lame. If you have friends or want to have more friends, which I assume is pretty much everybody, I want to let you know about one of my favorite podcasts, Dear Nina, Conversations About Friendships. Nina talks with a variety of guests who are here to help us find, keep, and grow our friendships. She covers a wide range of topics, all related to friendships that can help you in young adulthood, all the way through the empty nest and beyond. Her weekly episodes have been a cornerstone of my own podcast listening, and I hope you take a moment to check her out. Of course, the link to her podcast is in the show notes. Now, back to the show. It is what it is. And if that is the case, then that friendship was based on alcohol and that's it. If they can't find anything else about you to keep the friendship going, then clearly it's been about the alcohol. That was the common denominator. It is what it is. If they're not willing to continue the friendship by going for a walk or meeting for coffee instead, taking a class together, going to see some theater, then you know that friendship was based on alcohol. So it can be isolating and it sucks. It sucks to not be invited to go hang out. And it sucks that people assume that you cannot be in a social setting with alcohol. Let me make that choice. I've done it plenty. Yeah, it gets annoying after you've all had 14 drinks and I will probably be leaving early. But let me make that decision. That's interesting, but people assume you're not going to want to come because there's alcohol. I'm not anti-alcohol. I'm anti-alcohol for me. I don't want it. You partake and do all the things you want to do. It's your life and how you want to feel about things and how you want to go through it. That's your life. I have no desire to be everybody's fucking guilt trip. My husband still drinks. So clearly I'm good with whatever you choose to do, but I'm going to be picky about the people I'm with. People that can have one or two and call it good. I want to be around people that want to have a great conversation, that want to go do fun things. It's not revolving on the alcohol. Alcohol may be there, but it's not the main event. Those would be people I would hang out with. It just is what it is. It's going to be isolating at times until you find your people, I guess. But I would rather be by myself than around people that rely on alcohol to have a good time. Like, that's just not my people anymore. It is what it is. And I'm okay with walking away from that. And I'm okay with them walking away from me too. Totally fine. Like I said, my spouse still does drink. And I struggle sometimes. I'm going to be honest. I wish for him to stop and see how he could feel. So that can be tough. If he drank more, it'd be really tough. And we'd be having some different conversations probably. Like I said, earlier, being at the football game and being around a social setting that everyone's there to get drunk before the game. And we chose to be there. So that's my own fault. We chose to be in that place, but we wanted to say hi to some friends and it is what it is. It's annoying. It's annoying. And you're going to be annoyed a lot of the times. So I think the thing to do for me is to pick and choose when I'm going to be around that. It's really worth it. But for the most part, it's super annoying. Just recognize that. I think having a spouse that gets it, just great. But having the courage to say, I don't want to go there. You can go do that. I'm going to go do something else. And you choose you. So if you want to go sit at the coffee shop instead while he goes to see his friends, then do that. And if they don't understand it, and if I really look at it, those friends don't really care if I'm there or not. They want to see my husband. So if I chose to go someplace else while he went and did all that, it wouldn't impact anybody, truly. It would impact me. So maybe the next time I go sit in a bookstore, or maybe I go wander around the campus, go for a walk. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something else instead next time. I know my husband will not be happy about that because he feels that would be rude to not say hi to his friends, but truly they're there to see him and that's it. I know they love me as a person, but do they want to spend time with somebody that's not drinking? Probably not. I really can't think of much more as far as a con goes when you're not drinking. There's not a whole lot. So those are the ones lately for me that have come up. And I do feel like I'm finding the people I need to find, especially on the podcast. It's not lost on me that a lot of the women I've had on the podcast are also women living sober. I believe women who are living awake, well, and empowered, chances are, aren't consuming a lot of alcohol. You just can't. Honestly, you can't. You cannot live awake in your life and then choose to drink 4 out of the 7 nights of the week. That's my take on it. So I'm not surprised that most of the women I have on the podcast are very minimal drinkers or don't drink at all. But yeah, I'm still loving living sober. It feels like superpower. It really does. By going into a social setting and not needing to have a drink to be there, it feels fucking amazing. To tell somebody, no, I don't need a drink. I'm good to go. Nope, I don't drink. To be the only one not drinking because I chose to, that feels even better. I know a lot of people can't drink because of what happens to them and how addicted they were to it. I get that. I love that I chose not to drink. I didn't have to get to rock bottom before I walked away from it. I've witnessed what alcohol's done to people. My dad was so creative. He was also like MacGyver. He was a problem solver. Alcohol robbed him of who he could have been. I do feel like Vietnam also clearly messed with him as well. He came back a changed person. I mean, he had shrapnel in his head. I think that affected some of his brain activity as well. And then you throw alcohol on that. It was like, there's no chance. No chance. He was funny. A lot of great things about him when he was sober. But we got glimpses of it like this much. My parents moved down to Kansas City after we had kids, and my dad would go to work and he'd come over about 3:00 after the kids had taken their afternoon nap, and he would play with them. And I would see the kind of person he could have been. I got to see some good stuff. He passed away in 2021, but I hope that wherever he's at now, he recognizes the work he needed to do. And maybe that was his work here, is to be the way he was. And I got a chance to witness that and choose differently, you know? Maybe that was his work, to show me what I didn't want to do in life and who I didn't want to be. So I guess there's a thanks dad in there somewhere. But man, it's so sad to see what he threw away. I mean, he threw away a family. He threw away a connection with us. He threw away job opportunities. He threw away his creativity. He threw away just so much self-respect, happiness, joy. And I know that's coming from an addict level. But I really feel like alcohol does rob people of that every single day, no matter how much you drink, honestly. It's just at varying degrees. So I've gotten all of those things back and then some by being a witness to other people and watching them make choices for themselves. I get reinforcement of what I don't want in my own life, how I don't want to feel. I'm not kidding. If I see someone that's drunk, I can feel their hangover the next day. Just that foggy feeling, the upset stomach. I will never have to feel that again. And for that, I am so fucking grateful. So sober life is going strong, happier than ever regarding that. I will never doubt my decision to stop drinking, ever. Best thing I ever did for myself, and it's still going. I'm still here. I'm still showing up as a podcaster, as a writer, as a friend, as a wife, as a mom. And I think I'm only getting better as time goes on. I'm still learning how to be me, the full version of me. And every day, every week, every month, every year that I keep choosing to live a sober life, I get to keep moving towards that person. However long I get to be here, every single day becomes brighter and more clear and joyful and creative and happy and energizing and motivating and full of life. And those are things I gain every single day because I live sober. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. I'm so excited to be here, that I'm doing all I can in this lifetime with the gifts I've been given, with the opportunities, with the lessons, all the hard stuff too. I get to do it in a way that is very awake, well, and empowered because I'm doing it sober. I just cannot imagine my life and what I want to get out of it. I can't imagine living the life I've been given, the life I want, and have alcohol involved. So every day I get more and more reinforcement of why I keep choosing the sober life, how it's here to serve me. I cannot imagine living any other way now. So that's how it's going. Not one regret ever, 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 ever. And if anything, I'm more dedicated to staying alcohol free. It just keeps getting better all the time. I wish I could bottle this up and allow you to feel what this feels like. Because if you knew what you could feel like on the other side, you'd do the same thing. I wish nothing but the best for you all. Whatever you choose, but just know that if you go sober, you've got somebody here that understands completely of what you're going through. My door is always open. You're always welcome to this little tailgate over here, the Sober Life tailgate. We talk about cool shit over here. We talk about real things. We go deep. There's no small talk. We get into it. Happy to answer any questions anytime. Reach out via messages on Instagram or send me an email. Leave a comment, whatever you need to do. Happy to chat whenever. All right. Love you all. Have a great rest of your week and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you found this episode either helpful, inspiring, entertaining, or just made you feel less alone. Or maybe all of those things. If so, I'd love it if you'd share this episode with a friend as well as on your social media. And if I dare ask for more, to rate and review the podcast on your favorite platform, especially Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You see, the more reviews we have, the more people we can reach, and the bigger the Odd Life community can become. You guys are the best. I can't wait to chat again next week, so we'll see you then.